Afghanistan used to be a healthy country. The majority of their crops were grown to sustain Afghanistan's own population. However, when our CIA went into Afghanistan, it has been alleged that the CIA highly encouraged the people of this country to grow drugs. And these drugs were used, obviously not for food, but for exportation. This is the allegation. And then, when the farmers, in conjunction with the government, tried to pull back and reduce the percentage of crops grown for drugs for exportation into this country, it was decided that Afghanistan attacked the United States on 9/11. Now, if our CIA, in conjunction with other intelligence around the world, would only leave the people of Afghanistan alone and allow them to grow their own crops and have a sustainable economy, perhaps their government and these people and their farmers might do a lot better. It's time for us to stop policing the world and giving out the excuse that we're fighting for democracy. We're destroying democracy, and we don't belong there. And for the world to say that it's okay for one country to be neutral, but if another country is neutral, that means we're isolationists. That makes no sense.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Frank.
Well, I haven't come to the defense of the CIA in a while, but I'm disturbed by a method of argument that says it was alleged that the CIA introduced drugs into Afghanistan. I think that is an outrageous kind of charge to make based simply on an allegation. Beyond that, when we attacked Afghanistan, it wasn't being run by a lot of simple farmers. It was being run by the Taliban, one of the most vicious, immoral, anti-human rights organizations around. And in fact, that had been the place for which we were attacked. Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan when he attacked us. Now what I would do, and what I would have done from the beginning, would have been to pursue the war in Afghanistan, which I voted for, but with the kind of resources that we unfortunately put instead into Iraq. And by one of the great mistakes of this war in Iraq, the greatest single mistake in American foreign policy history, I believe, was to put so much energy into Iraq that Afghanistan became a sideshow, leading to a deterioration, leading to an increase in strength for the Taliban, in fact, undermining us because we had so many troops in Iraq that we had to rely excessively on air power in Afghanistan. Troops distinguish between bad people and innocent people much better than bombs. We have been, unfortunately, in a position of causing too many civilian deaths in Afghanistan because we didn't have enough troops there. So we have undermined that situation. The notion that, again, it was the CIA that intervened in this wonderful, peaceful country is a mistake. By the way, the U.S. government said to the Taliban, give up Osama bin Laden. And he didn't just attack us, by the way. In 1998, he killed hundreds of innocent Africans because he wanted to blow up a couple of American embassies. To have sat by and allowed Afghanistan to continue to give refuge to this murderous thug and his fanatical band would have been to allow innocent people all over the world to be destroyed. What I would like to do, and I think Senator Obama has been right on this, we never should have gone into Iraq. We should be withdrawing from Iraq as rapidly as possible so we can more sensibly pursue a pro-democracy, anti-terrorist policy in Afghanistan.
Thank you. Mr. Shaw.
Well, I'd like to go back to the last question, Tom. The deficit is serious. We need to do something about it. We cannot continue to spend more money than we bring in revenues. If you look, right now you're talking about $11 trillion. But if you look at the unfunded mandates, we're looking at estimates of up to $70 trillion. Try to figure out how much $1 trillion is. We're not going to be able to do it. We're on the verge of bankruptcy. You can't continue to print money it's not going to work. It's just going to debase the dollar. It's rallied recently, but it won't last forever. That's very important. Getting back to Afghanistan, my opponent was sounding like a true patriot there for a minute. I think we made an initial mistake in going into Afghanistan. If you all remember, the Russians were there. We were helping the Afghanis to fight Russian aggression. We made a mistake. We should have cultivated a closer relationship with the Afghan people. We didn't do that. That was a failure of our diplomacy. But just like Iraq, I think we're in a situation right now where our allies need to step up and shoulder more of the burden. I think we should stabilize it as much as we can, and we put the firepower in there and the manpower in there, we'll be able to do that. But I also want to say that we need to fix America first. That should be our first priority. We've neglected too many problems here at home. We cannot continue to be policemen to the world. We cannot continue to do that. And I think if we give this a little more thought, we'll be able to solve that situation. Iraq is stabilizing now. The surge has worked. General Petraeus has done a remarkable job, and we'll be able to move our troops out of there very shortly. Thank you.
All right, and so I'm going to ask a follow-up to that question, and actually you're in line, Mr. Sholley, to go first next. And so I'm going to ask a question about Iraq. Now, you said just now that we may be in a position to withdraw from Iraq very soon. Suppose we do that. Suppose we withdraw most of our troops or all of our troops from Iraq, and the situation deteriorates there. Can we tolerate a civil war in Iraq? And what are the implications of chaos in Iraq for the region and for our national security? If that was the choice between real disorder in Iraq and having troops there, how would you make that decision?
You must be a political science professor.
I must be.
We are in a difficult circumstance, and I will say that, you know, before you leave, it's just like this bailout. I think I was against it, the first one and the second one, because I think we should have taken more time to consider our options and to make sure that the taxpayers were protected. Well, I'm a veteran. I served in the military. I also served in the Peace Corps. That gives me a unique perspective that most people don't have. I'd rather be as peaceful as I possibly can with the rest of the countries around the world. However, I believe, as Teddy Roosevelt did, that you have to walk softly but carry a big stick. I think we are stabilizing the situation. I think we should be able to get out of there within the next year. Most of our troops, not all, within 2 years, I think we could get most of our troops out of there. I didn't exactly answer your question, but at least I gave you the scenario for the next 2 years.
All right, same question for Susan Allen. Can we afford, if we withdraw, if you favor withdrawal, can we afford a situation where there is considerable chaos in Iraq?
It's time we leave Iraq now. The U.S. invasion of Iraq has destabilized that country in the same way that the United States would be destabilized if we were attacked by a large country like Russia. Now, the United States has a written constitution so that people might know their rights and secure justice in the courts. The Constitution prohibits invasions of foreign countries as a protective measure to prevent giving foreign countries legal standing to attack the United States. Under Amendment 14, no state shall deny any person of their life without due process of law. Iraq did not invade the United States. Under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15, to provide for calling forth the militia, there has to be an invasion of the United States.
Thank you.
This did not occur. Thank you.
Thank you.